Have you spent a whole week testing automation approaches, watching tutorials, probably have 7 browser tabs open comparing approaches, and you still can't decide which one to commit to? I was in the same boat. Just last week, I gave myself 24 hours to solve YouTube video automation. I tested 3 approaches. All of them could work. But here's the problem. After full weekend testing out these approaches, I realized I could have got to my final approach testing none. In this video, I'm going to show you what actually happened when I tried to automate my YouTube video creation workflow. I'm going to show you the mistake I made that cost me an entire weekend, and I'm going to give you the framework I wish I'd had from the start. Let's get started. Starting YouTube in 2026 means producing high-quality content consistently. If you want your ideas to spread, you need to combat the algorithm. And to me, that means creating videos in an AI native way. No hours in a video editor, no production team, just full focus on producing high-quality idea. I needed a way to composite 3 layers automatically. These are my talking video, the screen overlay, and the animation. So I did what most people do. I started researching ways to do it. The first approach was exporting the HTML animation as transparent WebM, composite in CapCut. I tested it right away with a 28-minute render. But then I realized, wait, does it mean I need to use CapCut every time I produce a video? That alone is already breaking my no manual steps and my budget constraints. So even if I figured out the way to do it, it wouldn't be my way to do it. So mistake number 1, don't start testing the approaches as you find them. So I moved on to approach 2. Record the HTML on a green screen, chroma key it in FFmpeg. I tested it. It worked, but when I looked at the output, I saw fringing around the text. The chroma key filter was bleeding into fine details. Okay, maybe I could tune the tolerance, or adjust the algorithm, or spend more time dialing it in. But chroma keying has a quality ceiling for text-heavy overlays. No amount of tuning gets you to pixel-perfect transparency, and I need much higher quality. So approach 2 canceled because of quality ceiling constraint. So I moved on again. At this point, I'd spent 2 days testing approaches. I was making progress, knowing what doesn't work for me. When I searched for the approach the 3rd time, I had all my notes and pros and cons, and this time it worked. Claude was able to find the approach that satisfied all my criteria. So all this time, I was just looking for a solution that meets my constraints, and that is my stop sign. That's the entire objective of my research. And this is not a new finding. Herbert Simon won the Nobel Prize in economics in 1978 for research showing that humans don't actually optimize when making decisions. We satisfice. We find a solution that meets our constraints, and we stop. Which means the real work isn't finding the best approach. It's defining the constraints so you know when you've found one that fits. And that's when it hit me. Those 4 constraints: no editing software, no manual steps, no camera, published quality output. If I'd written them down as a formal constraint map before I started testing, I could have eliminated the 2 approaches I tried in 30 seconds. That's what I call the constraint map. That's your deal breakers plus your quality bar written down as a formal system before you test anything. Think of it like house hunting. You wouldn't tour every house in the city and then decide what matters to you. You'd set your filters first and only visit the ones that pass. The same thing applies to finding an automation approach or any exploratory decision that will take you hours to make. Your constraint map is your filter. You skip the test entirely by eliminating approaches that violate your constraints before you invest hours rendering anything. Here's the 3-step constraint-driven decision-making process. Step 1, define hard constraints. Write down your deal breakers before you test anything, not preferences, but the non-negotiables. Step 2, map approaches to constraints. For each approach, ask which constraints does this violate? Which does it satisfy? Step 3, recognize the stop signal. The stop signal isn't this approach failed. The stop signal is this approach's trade-offs don't align with my constraints. Claude flags the misalignments in minutes. You only need to test what's left. That's the framework. And if I'd had it from the start, I would have saved myself 48 hours. So what approach did I end up using? I call this approach the full code pipeline. I use OpenAI Whisper to timestamp my talking video and map that to an animated HTML. I enabled face detection and transparent render and use FFmpeg to composite everything. The approach itself might not be the optimal approach. I chose it because it aligned with all 4 of my constraints. That's satisficing, not optimal, but good enough. Most importantly, it gets me to production. The first video that came out of this pipeline is a 10-minute video about building an AI evaluation framework. The animated overlay shows a simulated Claude interface, a 15-row evaluation dataset with real data, and a full scoring dashboard. My job here is to decide what to make, review the output, and ensure it met my standard. The system handles the production for the most part, and I'm the editor-in-chief. Here's why I'm sharing this framework instead of my tool stack. A lot of automation content will say, here's how I use Puppeteer, or here's my FFmpeg settings. That's useful, but tools change. 6 months from now, there will be new tools, better tools and different tools. But the framework I just gave you, that works on any workflow with any tools in many years to come. When the next automation tool comes out, you'll know how to evaluate whether it aligns with your constraints. When the next workflow problem shows up, you'll know when to stop exploring and start building. Tools are tactics. Frameworks are strategy. That's what I'm showing you. Not how to use tools, but how to make decisions about your tools. Here's what I want you to do right after this video. Pick one workflow you've been trying to automate. Write down your 3 hard constraints. Then ask yourself, which approaches violate these constraints? Then eliminate those. And ask yourself which approaches satisfy these constraints. Test 1. You don't need to test 3 tools. You need to define constraints that choose the solution for you. If you watch until now, my name is Fergie. I'm figuring out how to run a content operation that would normally need a team, but with just me and AI systems. If this gave you something useful, save it. Subscribe if you want to learn more about AI native operating frameworks. And if you want me to share the exact tool stack, the prompts, the code in my YouTube video production flow, comment stack, and I'll make that video. I'll see you in the next one.